You put it out there.
You added seasoning to it.
Look, our champagne is losing its bubbles.
It sure is. What happened to your side pour though?
No, it's fine. We've been here for bubbling. Actually, it's bubbling, but we've been here for 30 minutes. So I'm 30 minutes.
Whoop! Please don't spill no drink on yourself.
We got a whole nother 20 minutes.
Hello? Trying to dry her off. Roll tape. Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. I'm your host, Marcia Mignot, and here with me is my co-diva,
Troll Queen.
Dana Smith. Government names every week.
Oh gosh.
We are not responsible for the things we're going to say.
Or do we even believe in half of the things that Marcia is saying now?
Especially none of what she says. We believe everything I say. And we do not own the rights to any of the topics we're going to talk about.
And we're not responsible for all the tears that tunnel into your little eye right here and they be like going all the way down.
I thought they were going to get a violin.
Play the violins.
Violin?
Play them.
The teensy one?
The small one.
The small one. Because this show is for edutainment purposes only. Please look for our episodes each week. They come out push
Wednesday.
on YouTube on Wednesday. Every Wednesday you get a new episode. We try to cover the topics you want to hear about, so don't miss it. If you want to stay in the know, you got to stay in the subscribe. Don't forget to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google.
Don't forget to Google us.
Google her, don't Google me. You might
Google
find some
Diva
things.
Court.
Yeah, Google Diva Court. Google Diva Court. And troll that direction.
And if you want a great attorney, Google Marcia.
Hey, the Mignot Law
See,
Group.
she talk about don't Google
Every
her.
time. I thought you just Googling to be nosy. Don't Google just to be nosy. Google to be in the know.
Yeah, you might need to be Googling to be nosy because that's how you find out a little bit about your man.
Is that what it is? You've been
Facts.
Googling your man?
A little bit.
What? Let's move on because this show might get deadly. We don't want this diva to be a single diva come next episode. The Texas bill has passed. Did it?
It did pass. Do we have a sponsor though?
It only passed the House though. Thank God.
Do we have a sponsor?
We do have a sponsor. And let me tell you something. The good news about our sponsor is they love us. Because if they didn't, they'd be gone.
Gone.
And it's
Gone. Like Justin Timberlake.
no, that's not Justin Timberlake.
Gone.
That's just the lake. Ain't no timber on that lake.
It's timber.
But we still have a sponsor. Thank you, Jesus.
We do.
You're not going to talk about the sponsor?
Guess not. Hey, Curl, hey. Hey, Curl.shop.
Hey Curl is our sponsor, and we love our sponsor, so don't
Yes.
forget to support the Diva Court sponsor.
And
if you don't support Diva Court sponsors, other sponsors won't come on board, so we need you. Listeners, Diva Court is still offering a Diva 10 discount on all Hey Curl products. So go to heycurl.shop and order today.
And it's good for braids.
It is good for braids. I am using it in my braids, and it's making my hair, especially the leave-in conditioner.
Oh, do you like that?
Oh, I love the leave-in conditioner. It makes your hair very soft.
Yeah.
Cotton soft.
Heycurl.shop. Go to it.
Go to it.
Cotton soft. It's a little racist, right? We will not be talking about racism today.
Now that's why she said don't believe nothing she said. Let me tell you, when something is systemic, you're going to hear about it in almost everything. It's kind of like salt. You know how you buy products and you say, ooh, this is a sugary snack. And you read the ingredients and you go, sodium?
Yeah.
How did sodium getting my sugar snack? Yes. Racism is like salt.
If you hear something racist today,
Today. She's
there
been
you
drinking.
go, talking about my speech impediment.
She's been drinking.
You hear something racist today? Take a drink.
Take a sip.
Take a sip.
Drink to that.
Yes.
Okay? So we're going to drink to that whenever she gets to something racist that she said she wasn't going to talk about. Now we can talk about the Texas bill removing the required lesson of civil rights. The state of Texas, listeners, has decided that my diva has to drink to that by herself.
Racist.
What is going on? She just said that she was not going to say anything about racism today. And now she's drinking before the show begins. Okay? She going to have to go to AA meetings. But Texas has decided, guess what? We don't think you should talk about civil rights in school. But you know what we found out was really important? That government and politicians, I stand corrected, should not be deciding what should be taught in schools, except for when they decide what they want to be taught in schools. Is that hypocrisy?
That is hypocrisy.
Could it be democracy?
I don't know.
I call it a Sha'Carri.
I agree. Sha'Carri for 200, please.
That is crazy for government officials who already mandated what should be taught in schools because they wanted to make sure that education was uniform.
Okay, so
that was the motive.
So, do you think that politicians should or should not?
I think they should. The reason they have to is because you want uniformity in your state as to what the children are taught.
But they're taking the law and passing it on to the Board of Education, which is state. It's the State Board of Education, so why couldn't they put the uniformity there?
Well, because they couldn't trust the state in the first place to decide.
But they are the state, so the state can't trust the state.
That's correct. States could not trust another state agency to get the job done.
Okay.
No, the point really is, you want education to be uniform. You want education to be the same. You want to make sure there are certain basics taught in school. So don't think that every single thing taught in every single school is mandated, because the Board of Education has the authority. They have some leeway in introducing a particular book versus one county. So if you go to school in DeKalb County, you might have in your social studies class that teacher uses a particular book. They're not mandated to any specific book. So in that book might be other topics or other things included in it. So they have leeway in terms of what they're taught. But you want to make sure everybody can read.
Right.
You want to make sure everybody can write.
Right.
You want to make sure everybody can spell.
Right.
You want to make sure everybody can do math.
So
that's where I feel the regulation needs to be. I don't say it has to be unbridled regulation, but I think there has to be some regulation. And I find that suspect that now Texas thinks that they have no place in deciding what the education should be as soon as people start talking about teaching critical race theory. What's that smell?
So what
Smells bad.
What do you think the goal? What is the end goal? What do you
Okay,
think it is?
here's what the motive is, in my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, whether right or wrong. The motive is so that we don't have to look as if we're discriminating when we say you can teach this part of history, but you can't teach the black part of history.
So when the Board of Education says that we're teaching critical race theory, then what the state gonna do?
Well, the state can say, then I don't have to worry about not being reelected. Because remember, these are government officials,
Right.
senators, congresspeople that are trying not to lose their job by having to make a decision on something.
Okay, so you don't think that they care whether or not they teach it or not, or do you believe that they care about teaching critical race theory?
I think they just don't want to teach it. I think it's controversial because there are people against it. There are people saying don't do it.
But wouldn't it be better just to make a law that says we're not teaching critical race theory, period?
No,
compared
because
to-
now you're going to have to get into that discriminatory battle, and you don't want to go there.
So if the Board of Education says we're going to teach critical race theory, then they lost that battle, but they can say that
I'm not my hands are clean.
Okay.
My hands are clean. I don't have to be responsible for that. You understand?
So what do you think they want to teach about America? We all
they
kumbaya
want to
came over
say
here.
that
Wait, they can't say kumbaya because they're not talking about civil rights.
well,
anymore.
they want to say it's a wonderful country and it's not a racist country. Oh, that's it. So we'll water it down. We'll change the story, and we'll say we've all been this way. We've all lived in the same neighborhoods. Nobody was in any chains.
So America can talk about how it fought for its rights from Great Britain, but they don't want to talk about
how black people fought for their rights
from America.
From them. Like, no thanks, no thanks. Please don't do that. So I think it's hypocritical. I find it to be hypocritical. I don't understand why all of a sudden they don't believe that politicians should play a role in what's taught, and that the Board of Education or the State Board of Education.
Well, they're not teaching us anything in school.
Amen to
anyways.
that, especially in your neighborhood. Because if you don't think there's a difference between North DeKalb and South DeKalb and North Fulton and South Fulton, and I'm just talking about 2 counties in one state, then you must be sleeping in a cave somewhere.
What I'm saying is that they don't teach what you need to know to survive in America. They teach you all this surface level stuff.
Well, they're starting to teach you. They said, when the police pulls you over, put your hands on the steering, do not touch your cell phone, and make sure you say, yes, sir, massa.
Well, there's that.
We got to drink to that. So, if you went to that school, you wouldn't get gunned down. And I guess all the other people who are getting gunned down across this country just didn't what you said. Comply.
So
just comply.
So being devil's advocate, if they don't teach about race relations for the generation to come, and they don't teach that there was any discrimination, and they don't teach that no one had a struggle and that we were all good, so would that then allow for those who had negative connotations on black people to now not think about that anymore because they didn't come from slaves, they didn't come from, no one was discriminated against, everybody's the same? Would that just make
what that's going to do is perpetuate inherent biases, and it's going to keep them there, because if you don't address an issue, first of all, you got to recognize an issue, and the second thing you got to do is you have to address it. And if you pretend it doesn't exist, I'm sorry, that's not a way of addressing a problem. It is clear we know there's a problem.
That's some people's culture. They just don't pretend that it exists.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, we're going to need the people who know better to do better. And those are the people who we the people have elected. And we the people are electing people who we expect to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So if you're not the man or the woman for the job, say so that somebody who's qualified and ready to work will take it.
I just think this whole situation is hopeless.
It's the critical race theory, people. That's what's got everybody up in arms about what should be taught and when it should be taught and why it should be taught and why we shouldn't teach anything. But they don't have to worry because they're not teaching nothing. No way.
They ain't teaching anything anyway.
Have you spoken to a high schooler lately? Have you asked them to draft a letter? I mean, serious talk.
Yeah.
I've had people apply for jobs and I'm like, are you serious? You show up at a job interview? I remember when you used to be taught how to wear a suit and how to look presentable, and you didn't have to look like a millionaire. You didn't have to have on the $5,000 suit, but they would teach you how to wear a dress shirt.
Well, that's because they funnel them into college.
But the colleges are not doing them any justice anyway, because people are graduating with degrees that cannot use proper grammar.
It's just debt. It's capitalism.
Because we've gotten into greed, and we're so greedy now, we're not focusing on making sure the generation behind us is educated. What we forgot is that we're going to get old and they're going to be in charge. Isn't that scary?
It's going to be fun.
You better teach them. You ready? You ready for that ride at the nursing home?
Hey, I'm trying to raise these kids to take care of me when I get older.
I said, Mom, we're going to stop by your place and drop you off.
Dropping you off.
But speaking of being the right person at the right place at the right time, knowing the right things to do, Lynn Wood said,
oops, gotta go.
It's not me, it's her.
Yes, he did.
Lynn Wood, who is the attorney that was in the state of Georgia, yelling and screaming and posting and kicking about fraud, and the election fraud and being reckless as a licensed attorney,
and I have
making statements he knew were false or should have known were false.
It was either him or Paul who was like, I have something I'm going to release at the end of the week. We still waiting.
Oh, it was released. His bar card.
I'm still waiting.
His license. According to Lynn Wood, Sydney Powell is signing and filing lawsuits
In his name.
and he was clueless that his name was being added to all these legal filings that had all this fraudulent, false statements, reckless conduct in it. You buy that?
When I say whoa, I mean
I'm
whoa.
gonna let Yosemite Sam speak for me.
Is that a whoa?
All day, because I'm still waiting for him to release these documents that he has. He got the perfect.
So you
lawsuit.
are saying that Powell didn't put his name on that document and he never read.
I mean, I think
you
he's
don't believe
probably
that?
honest in saying that he did not sign his name to the documents, but I don't. But we all know that's not the only way.
But he
your
authorized
could
his
be-
name to get on the
Right.
document. He said he told her that I'm a trial attorney, and if you ever needed somebody at trial, I would help. But I didn't say file all those frivolous lawsuits with my name on it.
with those fraudulent documents, allegedly.
But Linwood has problems too, because he filed a suit against the State Bar of Georgia in federal court, and the federal court said, boot, goodbye, adios. The State Bar of Georgia is asking for him to undergo a mental health evaluation, and he's fighting it because he's
And you know
saying that's
what?
not fair.
It was either Powell or Linwood who filed a petition and didn't pay the money.
No filing fees.
Just filed it. And they were holding it because, this is the president's attorney. But it was filed in Georgia and did not pay the filing fee.
So did they just throw it out?
They just threw it.
Wow.
They dismissed it.
I think some of those filings probably they didn't want to
It was
pay the
for-
filing fee.
It was for face.
Yeah,
value.
yeah. It's so that we can go tell voters,
We,
look at this.
we
We
found
wanted
it.
something to be able to show on YouTube and on our cell phones.
One of
and
them got
social
away.
media.
Somebody went to pay the fee, and they wasn't expecting it to happen. They was just filing stuff. We ain't gonna pay the fee, so it ain't gonna be.
Maybe
really
they won't go
legit.
through with it.
But it will be on the record that it was filed.
But it was filed.
And we'll blame the court for just throwing it out. See, they didn't want to hear. They don't want to even hear our petition.
That's the deep state that we're in.
That's the deep state. No, you didn't add the filing fee.
Could you file the fees, please? Take your fees to the clerk's office. Yeah, that is, he's in such hot water. I don't know how he's going to dig himself out of it, because a licensed attorney has to operate under rules of professional
They were
conduct.
filing things after the filing date, like.
No, but how many times do you want the votes counted before you accept the results? My God. It's like saying, I'm going to take this pregnancy test till I pass it.
Or at least till I felt it. I was just taking till I felt it.
Hold on, Doc. I'm going to go home. I'm going to study. I'll be back. That's not going to help.
It don't work like that.
That's not going to help. So, Linwood, you in the woods and I don't see a way out.
And I can't lend you a hand.
I can't. I'm a trial attorney, but I can't help you with any of those filings, and
That's
you
what
can't
he
put my
should've-
name on nothing.
That's what you should have been telling Trump.
Not electronic signature, not no kind of
Should
signature.
have been telling Trump that.
Crazy. All right, so there's a study about rude police officers. And the study says that we've looked at the body cams of police officers, and we have gone through about 100 of them, and we can come up with some numbers based on the 100 that we reviewed. We find that law enforcement officers, especially white officers, speak more rudely and disrespectfully to black motorists than they do to white motorists that they pull over, especially the black male. You buying that?
I think it's probably true.
I think it's true. I think it's true. I mean, the kneeling on the neck, the shooting in the back, the gunning downs. I mean, if that's not evidence enough that we're getting a different treatment when we get pulled over, something
Listen,
is wrong.
at face value, white men don't seem dangerous.
Is that what you think?
That's what I've been told.
Let me tell you something. She gonna be in somebody's spaghetti if she keep that fight.
Spaghetti. What
They're gonna have her tied up in the
what I'm
basement,
saying is, that's how
cooking
they-
little pieces of her
that's how
like
they
Jeffrey
get you.
Dahmer. You remember him?
Jeffrey Dahmer, and then what's the other one's name that all the girls liked? What's the other one's name that all the girls liked? And he was just murdering them. Serial killer.
I can't remember him, but I think.
Oh,
I know
you
you're
know who I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about. He was a serial killer, but he was handsome.
He was
and,
so handsome.
Yeah, and the girls would date him, and then
And
he
they
would
was
kill
just-
him.
And even after he was convicted, they were
still writing him in jail.
They was writing him in jail.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
charisma.
Yeah, that's some charisma.
charismatic to be in
But
prison.
that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't seem dangerous.
Because they've never been presented on television news as deadly, dangerous.
Back in the day, they was dangerous and deadly.
Oh, they were, but it was their news, okay. And when they reported,
And
they
was
weren't
celebrated.
But they weren't
I been
reported
watching
themselves.
the Vikings.
They were.
I was watching them. That's how. When I say back in the day, I'm talking about, the Vikings. They was like, yeah, I took his throat and I just cut it in the blood with a blood. I just set it in the blood. I was like, yeah, they like it. They lived off
That's
of
not
it.
violent, but we're.
No, it is violent. I think that's still.
Oh, okay.
I still think that savagery is still in there.
Still in their bones.
It's still in their bones.
Turning hoes on women and children.
Yeah, but when they met the people from England who were just as savage, but they were like refined savage.
Oh.
You know, they refined the ability to be savage. So now in America, it's just the whole,
So we're just hiding savagery.
hiding it.
In professionalism.
And
If you
professionalism.
speak nice and do savage things, you're not savage.
Yeah, have you heard of the passive aggressive email? Per your last email, see the attached documents. CC your boss, your boss's boss, your boss's boss's
my
mama,
word.
and her auntie.
Do you know anybody
So I
that
hope
does?
that after reading this, you can submit me those TPS reports. You like, I just got back from vacation.
You know you don't want to work for this code Diva. You hear how your email is gonna sound when you come back from vacation?
Nah, I'm talking about that's the savagery. You lose your job.
That's the new savage.
That's the new savage.
That's the new savage. What do you
Yeah.
mean you're sick? You better get in that chair and do some work.
You know how they say corporate politics?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Well, I thought it was corporate politics.
There you go. But what I'm saying is like in the black community, we don't really like. I know when you don't like me, even when you fake it. I can tell it. I know.
You wear your emotion on your sleeve. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
You
That's
wear your emotion.
racist.
Really?
I
It's
mean,
not
to-
racist. It's an observation.
To say that black people wear their emotions on their sleeves and want to title it as observation, where is your supremacy?
I know. Hello, code switching. When the code switch is off, I know. And when the code switch is on, I know. I know.
I'm
I
gonna
see
need you to know.
I know
that,
you don't like me. You thought I looked at your man, and I wasn't really looking. I was looking past him.
I was looking because he was ugly. I was glaring at
But
his,
yeah, what I'm
his
saying,
ugliness.
That's why it's a culture shock when black people go into corporate America, when they go to college or if they're surrounded by majority white people. It's a culture shock because things that you're not used to, you get to experience.
How come Kamala didn't have a culture shock?
She ain't black. You try to set me up. I know she tried to set me up.
What is your definition of black, Code Diva?
You have to be of African descent.
Aren't we all?
It just depends, like how far back we going. Like
I
we,
mean,
then
Okay.
that means
it's there.
then that means everybody black. Then everybody black,
Including the white man?
including the white man.
Sir, I'm sorry. Stop discriminating. You are actually black.
You are discriminating against yourself.
You need to
You
teach
just
that critical
light-skinned.
race theory so you will know what race you really belong to.
You just light skinned.
Oh, is that it? Your freckles are just not close. I'm not really black. My freckles are close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try my best to pronounce her name right because I'm not really trying to be disrespectful. Kamala.
Yes. It's Kamala Mamala.
She's Indian.
And Indians are black.
Indian.
So to
Indian-
all my Indian listeners,
that's fine. I get that, but when you say you're Indian and African American, then that's not true. She's not. They say she's the first African American president. She's the first.
she's the first African American vice president.
Okay, well, let's put the vice in front of it. I might have gave you a shout out, president, so people know.
Speak it into being.
Speak it into
Go
life.
ahead and elect
But
that lady because
she's
I
a-
would vote for her.
She's the first Indian American vice president.
I thought last
She's Indian.
episode.
Why can't she be both?
Her dad is Indian,
No.
Jamaican. He's from India. He practices Hindu.
Her dad was born in Jamaica, ma'am.
Right, but you can
Her
have
mother was
Chinese
born in India.
Jamaicans. You can have
But
Indian
they're
Jamaicans.
still Jamaicans.
But Jamaican doesn't mean black though.
Oh, really?
So, okay, again, let's go back to my Korea thing. If I'm in Korea.
Can we get closer?
Can we get closer? All right. So let's go to Russia, right? Mm-hmm. I can be black in Russia. Mm-hmm. And I'm Russian, but that don't necessarily, and if you are white in Russia, that don't make you black.
So you're white Russian.
I don't make me a white Russian. It makes me black.
Is that a drink or is that your race?
So what I'm saying is that if you're Chinese and in Jamaica, you're Chinese. I mean, this is only.
You know what the good part about Jamaica is?
You can be any
They don't
culture.
divide by.
Right. So why are we calling like if she was? Why would?
Because when you come to America, in
why we
order
call her
for
African American
white supremacists to prevail, they had to
Okay.
partition people.
Clear this up for
So-
me. I might be wrong.
So let me clear it up for you.
Please.
When you get to America, that's the first time you realize that you have to divide.
Okay.
Unfortunately for the Jamaican culture, there's a rainbow coalition in your family. So it's hard for you to look at your cousin or your niece or your nephew and say you're going to discriminate. So you have to let it go, even though you've come to the United States and you've started seeing the division of black people.
No, I agree with that. I guess my question is that she's Indian Jamaican, right? So just because you're Jamaican, like you're black Jamaican.
Are you talking about where she was born or you're talking
I'm
about
talking
her parents?
I'm talking about her ethnicity.
Okay.
So when okay, your son, if he would be considered African American Jamaican, right? So
No,
he would be the
he
first.
would be considered African American
right. He would be the first.
with Jamaican heritage.
Right. He would be the first African American vice president if he
Right.
ran for vice president because he's black. But Kamala, did I say it right? Kamala. Kamala is Indian Jamaican, so she's the first Indian American president, vice president.
So what is the Native
Indian
Americans
Jamaican.
gonna say?
But
She's
what
one
I'm-
of them?
No. What I'm not Native American, like from India. So I guess my thing is that where is the African inside of that? How is she African American if both of her parents are Indian?
Oh, it's extended.
That's the thing about Jamaica. It's so mixed that it's
but
hard to tell.
I know, but
It could come from her
what
dad's
I'm
side.
saying is that Jamaicans know this. But when the way it's presented to just everyday black America,
It's complicated.
Right.
America's not used to this.
No, they're not.
Mixed culture where everyone's the same.
right? But I guess,
So
just
for America to make it simple for everyone, they just call her black.
Right.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, she's not.
So you're
though.
saying
but she's not the first. So if you ran for vice president, you would technically be, if you were born in America,
Right.
you would technically be the first African American Jamaican vice president because you are of African heritage. There's other things in there, but you're all are of African
So how do
heritage.
you know that she don't have African heritage?
Well, I mean,
If her father was born in Jamaica.
her father is Indian.
Her father was born in Jamaica. Her mother's Indian.
Right, but her dad is Indian, born in Jamaica.
Her dad. Have you seen a picture of her dad?
Yes, I have.
He doesn't look Indian to me.
He is. He
You
is.
think he
and
looks
practiced,
Indian?
and he practiced like Hinduism or
But
Buddhism.
that's a religion. I can
I
practice
know.
Buddhism.
What black man you know practicing that?
I can practice Buddhism.
You could. Everybody could. I could too.
That's my point.
I'm not taking nothing away from her, but what I'm saying
No,
is,
what I'm saying is his religion or the religion he practices doesn't determine his
they're
race.
they're all I understand that, but Indians have multiple colors, you know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
That's my point.
He doesn't look Jamaican and black Jamaican.
yes, he does.
doesn't look black Jamaican.
That's not true. The point is that in order to conquer, you have to divide, and that's why you find these job applications, these housing applications.
I guess my point is that I'm not
I
going to
say
take anything.
every application should remove that crap. And
I agree.
And if I find out if people say, if the response is, so what do you do when somebody's getting discriminated against? You file a lawsuit,
Yeah.
and then the government agency comes in and says you discriminated against this person you shouldn't have, because we've investigated this case and we realized that you did not give them housing and we couldn't find any other reason why you didn't do it.
So what I want to say, I don't want to take anything away from her. I feel like she's the first woman to become vice president. I don't want to take anything away from her. I guess my thing is that as a as a black woman, but but I just feel like as a black, the way it was pushed as if she was like Obama. You know what I'm saying? Where she was half black. Well, it's just all. It's just the way. The more I talk about it, but I mean,
the more you talk about it, the deeper it gets, and the more you go down, and you're like, okay, all right. Well, according to the American Psychological Association analysis of body camera footage of 100 police officers during traffic stops, the officers are being way more rude, aggressive, and disrespectful to black drivers than they are to white drivers. We are not surprised based on the numbers.
We're not surprised.
We're not surprised based on the arrests. We're not surprised based on the incarceration. It's just more evidence that there needs to be police reform in teaching people how to handle things. And I think that they're not so quick to shoot or fire their weapon if it's somebody that they can relate to.
Right.
And that's why I think there's credence to, you don't live in this neighborhood, you can't police this neighborhood.
But the thing is that it's understandable. It's understandable that if you have been taught, because no one's teaching critical race theory, if you have been taught and the media has put out images and of black people always doing something wrong, you also have been taught that they were slaves and they didn't know any better, and we saved them from their lifestyle. You were taught,
gave them housing and food.
Housing, took care
That's
of
what
them.
Bill O'Reilly said when Michelle Obama said that she felt proud of living in a White House that was built by slaves. He was like, hey, those slaves had great housing and they were provided decent meals, young lady. Is that his hotel? How about I get your family and put them in that slave hotel, right, sir? Since the food and the housing was so wonderful.
And you have the music that perpetuates stereotypes that not all of us, want to be, live up to be, or want our children to be. So when you have all of these images that are negative of black people, then your experience is going to be to either fear them, not respect them. I mean, it just makes sense. It's right. I'm not.
And that's why it's critical to teach critical.
Right. And it's just like me, where I don't fear. Unless I'm in the deep South. When I first came down to Georgia, oh my gosh!
So you found
when I first in Alabama. When I first was in Alabama, I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna lynch me. We can't go out at night. You might see the horses coming with the burning crosses. I mean, that was my first impression of white people in the South, and it took me being around them so much to realize, okay.
But you know what's crazy? When I first moved to the state of Georgia, everybody was telling my parents that, oh my God, you're gonna let her go to school in Atlanta? The rednecks are gonna get her.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because my father, who was fearless, God rest his soul in peace, said, no, we're going because they're people and we're just gonna have to learn how to deal with people. And what was surprising for us is that the people were so kind. Like, we went to places where we weren't supposed to be, and they were like, "Oh,
where was you at? Where were you?
We went to the waterfront. Well, according to everybody, we weren't supposed to go up there because we would be lynched. Like Cherokee, is it Cherokee County? I think it was Cherokee County. That was all white, wasn't it? Cherokee County, Forsyth. It was Forsyth County. Forsyth County was an all white county for a long time. In fact, Hosea Williams had a march for one of the up on Forsyth County, and when he went the first time with a small group of people, they threw rocks and stones at them, and then he came back and made the march even bigger. And I remember being an undergrad and being a part of that march. There's footage out there. Hey, go ahead, march and fight the power. And there's footage out there with my college roommate and I going to march on Forsyth County because it was an all-white county. But we went there to purchase furniture from a white family, and they were welcoming. And
you weren't living next door to him.
Hey, we weren't living next door, but we expected, hey, based on what my father had been told, we expected the guns to come out and hear, get.
Nah, they green always
so
trumps black, baby.
We were like, wow.
Green trumps
when
black.
I say whoa, I mean whoa.
Long as you weren't moving next
door. That's what we
door.
expected to hear when we pulled up.
Long as you wasn't moving next door, go ahead and take this furniture. All right, niggers.
It's all yours.
All right. I mean, but keep this in mind.
So the stereotype and stuff that,
but
don't think necessarily the South is worse than the North, because I've had experiences in the North where I'm like, whoa, okay.
What I was saying
we are divided there. This is the Jewish
yeah.
neighborhood.
It's more
This is
the-
the black
it's
neighborhood.
very segregated.
Oh, you better
It's
believe
very
that.
segregated
So when
more.
people come to southern states and say, "Oh, you got to be careful with
Well,
southern
that's
states.
because-
Racism is more prominent." We are more, in my opinion, I've seen more multiracial families and multiracial couples in the South than I see in the North.
Yeah. Well, keep this in mind that, you know, the people down south, they're used to the black people because they used to work for them, you know, and they helped raise
Oh.
their families. And
Miss
so they're
Bessie?
used to the niggers.
Miss Bessie?
And the little
Is that what
nigger.
you're saying?
Yeah, they're used to all that.
Oh my
so
word!
That is
so
why
the antebellum ball we
Yeah,
can't go.
they
Is that
used
not
to it.
good?
They used to it.
What the Bachelor said, is that not good in 2018? Is that not
used
good
to-
in 2021?
they're used to
Sir, that's not
interaction.
good because you're unemployed.
They're used to being serviced by them. They're used to interaction with them. They just don't want you to live next to them.
Okay.
The real solution was the fact that they did segregation. Because they did desegregation, they actually solved the problem by facing it.
Mm.
That's why
See there?
they
Like
dealt
critical
with the
race.
issue. They dealt with
Deal with the issue.
Well, that's
So that
true.
you
I
can
agree
get
with
to
that.
the solution.
They've been dealing with it a lot longer. So they by now it's like we're over it. Whereas
They built
up
that
north,
bridge you talked about when we started the show.
Yeah. Well, up as north, it's like people, you know, people are in so many different places that you don't have to. Like when I was in Detroit, I never had to see a white person unless it was a teacher. But when you stay
Because you're in
the
your
city,
corner. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
never have
Stay
to
in your
see
corner.
one.
In your place is what some people say. I think that's racist. My place is every place they can place their
Nah,
feet.
I don't want to be around
Thank
people
you.
who don't want to be around me. It's okay. It's
Hey.
okay to not be around
Hey,
people who don't want to
look
be
here.
around
I'm
you.
not coming to your house. That's good enough. But when it comes to a public place,
Well, public, yeah.
then I'm going to be
But
welcome.
I don't want to go to your private pool.
No,
I don't wanna
need-
be in
I
your
don't need that.
clubs.
I don't need that. I don't need that.
I
In
don't-
fact,
I honestly-
I
I
don't like
don't
clubs
wanna-
anyway.
I don't
It's
wanna
just
be in your neighborhood.
cliques,
I don't wanna-
independence. All right, let's talk about Drake Bell. Did Drake Bell get a slap on the wrist, or did Drake Bell get a slap on the wrist? All right, so this Nickelodeon series star, Drake Bell, was charged with a felony and a misdemeanor associated with inappropriate contact with a minor. Now, the inappropriate contact is supposed to be photographs, material harmful to children that was disseminated by him to a 15-year-old young lady. He gets 2 years probation. Is that a slap on the wrist?
Well, reading the article is very, very,
Hidden?
yeah, you don't really know what happened. You can only imagine.
They were using big titles?
So here's my question: how he get her number? How this
Well, he saw her.
34-year-old
He was at an event where he was supposed to be, I think he was in Vegas, wasn't he?
I think they said the initial contact was social media.
Oh, okay. So stop going on
Okay,
social
so
media and
he-
reaching out to 15-year-olds.
So he reached out to her on social media, or she reached out to him on social media.
I think it's that way.
Which
he
way?
put out a blaster saying, "I'm in your town," and then
Somebody
people
15
reach out,
responded.
Okay,
and he was interacting back.
okay, because I was about to lay into it.
So you think it's appropriate because it happened that way from social media?
I wish, I'm not gonna say the N word, but I wish a nigga would try to holler at my daughter.
She just said
I wish
she wasn't going to
he
say
would.
the N-word. And then
That's what it's made for.
talking to who?
For black people
Your
only to
daughter?
say it.
Your daughter. Your daughter.
Right. I wish he would.
At 15.
You
2 years
bet.
probation is a little too light for him?
He would be happy to have his life.
She
'Cause I'll
says
get out Baby D.
she is not
and-
going to make any terroristic threats. But you would not be happy,
No,
Mr.
it's
Bell.
self-defense. That is a defense. And you would be my attorney.
Well, I don't
It's
know where she's going to get that
self-defense. I'm
contract
defending-
from because it requires a contract.
I'm defending my child. I'm defending my child.
Did you hear that,
from
Breaks?
a pedophile.
Breaks. So is that a pedophile or is that a predator?
Michaela, what you got to say?
He's not a pedophile if she came at him first.
Ooh, okay. Now that's coming out of the mouth of babes. Let
Wait,
me
hold
introduce
up.
my co-producer.
You better not be talking to no old men now.
It's not his fault that she came first.
Wow. Okay, so in the house, in the Diva courthouse
All up
today
in here. I'm loving
is
it.
Michaela. Shout out to Michaela. She, put your hands together. She is our intern. she is interning and learning.
Yes, she is.
And she had a point that she just made that if the 15-year-old reached out to the grown up first, then don't blame the grown up.
All right, so I have a question for Betty, just in case your mama's watching.
Betty Lou, out there in TV land.
Out there, Betty, who is not our intern, and she may sound like Michaela. So you're telling me, how old are you? 13. So if you're 13 and you reached out to a man who is over the age of, how old? What's the age?
21. Let's say 21.
21. And he responds back and wants to have a relationship with you. You don't think that's some type of pedophilia?
He wouldn't be in that situation if she wouldn't have reached out first, though.
But who's the adult?
Who should know better?
Who should know better?
Ah,
There you go.
bingo. Can
So
I get
if
a
your
ding?
dad
We need a ding
was
on
reached
that.
out by one of your homegirls, one of your friends, right? And she went in your phone. She thought your dad was cute, and she reached out and tried to talk to your dad. And your dad was like, "Well, you know what? It ain't pedophilia if she reached out to me first." What do you think about that?
I mean, it's like they should be able to control themselves.
The adults.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Because we just want to make sure we blaming the adults.
Right. And
Okay.
the fact, and the,
It's not really his fault, though. But to a certain extent, it was.
Oh, okay.
I feel like you should be blaming both of them.
Okay. We're going to blame him since
I-
he's the adult and the other
I
person's
agree.
a child.
I do agree with the statement that we should blame both, because if she's lying about her age and maybe that's where you were going with. She might be saying, you know, she is 18 and he's 21 or whatever.
Well, unfortunately, the law, under general responsibility, puts it on an adult.
Right.
Thank you, Lord.
But don't you
So he's
think,
wrong as two left shoe. And he should have gotten time in prison for
That's
it.
true.
Not
You
probation.
don't think he should have got prison
She
time?
could have easily lied about her age.
So you think if she lied about her age, then he should get probation? Because he's still wrong as an adult.
Yeah, he's wrong, but like, if she
Should be a
lied
slap on the
to
wrist.
how's he supposed to know?
So let me ask you this question. Do you think at 15 that you have the capacity or the conversation or the experience
Or the maturity.
or the maturity? 13-year-olds are mature. They think they are, at least. So
That's
I don't
correct.
want to take that away from her. So
But the maturity.
but all of those things for that a man who is 21 can have a conversation with you and not know how old you are.
You don't think he can figure it out?
You don't think a man could figure it out?
I mean,
When you go, and when I took my Tootsie Pop out, and my mommy,
When you say like, you know, because in math class,
my mommy didn't let me.
you
So
know,
my mom said,
well, when can you come out? I
gotta ask my mom.
I gotta be in by 7.
I'm gonna interject because I think that question is directed at a man.
But that's the point.
Not the
Yeah,
kid.
it's not.
Not the kid.
She wouldn't know. She would do
What the
her
kid is
things,
gonna
what
do.
she thinks what the thing is.
That's true, because when I was 14, I used to talk to this 19-year-old. Oh, and I was, ooh. And I just knew he did not know that I was.
Father.
I told him I was 16.
Hey, look here, Drake Bell.
easy to trick.
But
It's
it's
easy
not.
to
But
trick.
let me tell you this. Although I was 14 trying to lie about my age, I think he knew. I think he knew.
Yeah.
I think for me to think that I was so clever
That
that
you
every
were
time
covering
he
it
was
up.
like, I'm about to go to the strip club, and I'm like, go ahead, have a good time. When a woman who could meet him where he was
Yeah,
in
you
life
say, "I'm
would
coming."
have been like,
No,
either I'm
or I'm
coming,
coming.
or no, you not. I'm about to roll up over there. You know
You
what
were
I'm
like,
saying?
okay,
When
go
I
ahead.
can't leave the house at a certain time, I can't even get boy phone calls, so I'm sneaking.
You're also discounting how stupid men can be.
That is true.
So you
But stupidity is a crime,
stupidity,
and it
killed
will
the-
be punished. Men out there listening to Diva
Stupidity
Court.
doesn't
But
save
I
you
think
from
that they
crimes.
should both
It does not.
You think that? So what do you think her punishment should be?
Probation.
That does.
You mean at the house? Okay,
you
you're
should-
on the punishment.
Her punishment is more school.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
think like
More
she should get
education.
through the court system that she should be punished for being a Jezebel? You know what a Jezebel is?
That's one over there.
Really? A Jezebel is a. Can you pull up the definition? A Jezebel. A Jezebel is a horrible woman. You know what a whore is?
Wait a minute.
that's
First
what
of
it
all,
is. Don't be calling me no whore.
This show is gotten out of left field, okay?
I think we're out the park. I think.
Yeah, I think we got.
$100 services or some type of probation.
Okay.
But I feel like the girl, she should be able to still go to school. But I feel like she shouldn't be able to go out like
With
almost like a
friends.
ground.
Yeah, ground her.
So you think her
Ground
parents should ground her, or should a court system ground her?
I feel like she would learn her lesson or be more strict if the court would ground her, because then she definitely can't go out.
I agree with that.
Oh,
I think that's
okay.
a good. I think
Hey.
that's a good policy.
Hey, we might
To
have
teach
to
these fast,
We gonna have
fast tail young, getting pregnant too early girls.
call your senator because I think we got a
I
member.
think hey, come on, Michaela. Betty Lou. Betty
Betty
Lou
for
state
senator.
senate.
All right. Now I'm just gonna talk about my young lady Avante. Am I saying her name right?
Just call her by her name.
Zaila Avant-Garde.
Avant-garde.
Am I saying that? Avant-Garde.
Avant-garde.
Zaila Avant-Garde.
Is that her last name?
That's the last name. But it
That
looks like
is-
it's French. It looks like it's French
a
because it's
perfect-
hyphenated.
It's a perfect last name for her.
Yeah, because it's hyphenated. Well,
Avant-garde is
she
eclectic. It means
is the
eclectic.
young lady who won the spelling bee.
Go girl.
Put your hands together, producer.
She has
for
to be.
Zaila.
She has to be.
Now let me tell you
One
something.
of the
Don't
most
play with Zaila.
intelligent- one
That
of the
young
most
lady can
intelligent
spell and she can ball. So all you basketball players
And
out
she can
there,
balance too.
what? Take nothing from her. That young lady is serious.
I got some lipstick on
So
her.
try not to mic up try not to lipstick up the mic, please. This diva right here, I'm telling you, I don't know what to do with her.
Little lipstick on there.
We want to end on a positive note.
Yes.
So kudos to Zaila for
Zaila
winning.
is in the building.
We
She's not in the
want-
building though.
She's not in the building,
No,
ma'am. She's in her building, wherever that building is.
Making it happen.
But we want to congratulate her here at Diva Court because she did a fantastic job. She's been all over.
and she's the first African American.
First. You want me to shock you?
What?
Her parents are Jamaican.
She could still be the first African American.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know
I'm
because I
not
know your
taking-
definitions
Listen,
of Indian
I'm not
and
taking
African
nothing off.
American.
First,
I'm just
let me
checking.
speak-
I'm
Let me
just
speak
checking.
to the Jamaican community.
Okay, talk to them in that mic.
Jamaican community.
Talk to your mic.
You know, my blacks in the Jamaican community, we here. You know what I'm saying? We on the same
You
page.
sound like Trump. Hey, my African Americans.
All my blacks in the Jamaican community, we on the same page. She's the first African
Do
American.
you want some horns
of
behind
Jamaican-
that? Do you want the pa-pa-pa? You mean as you talk to the
of
Jamaicans?
Jamaican. Where's my weed at? So I can get it popping, so they know that they can feel me.
You gonna
when I
need some
speak.
one love in the background?
I got the dreads going.
You want some one love? Oh my word.
What I'm saying is that I'm for all black people. It doesn't matter where their heritage from. I'm for all black people.
Okay.
And I give credit what credit is due. She is the first African American
Boy, that impediment.
of Jamaican descent.
We gonna get some therapy.
She counts.
We gonna get some therapy.
I'm
for
just
that.
saying is that if she ran for vice president,
You would elect her?
that too.
Okay.
If she ran for vice president, she would be the first African American vice president. That's what
So
I'm
what's the
saying.
difference between her birthplace and Kamala's birthplace, which is the USA?
The difference is that Kamala is Indian Jamaican American. That's a lot.
Okay.
She's Indian Jamaican American, whereas
I never see that on the form.
Zaila
Every time
Indian
I see the
Jamaican
form.
American. Can y'all add that to the
African
application?
American Jamaican. So that's the difference.
You know what? I need a drink because I can't keep up with her
It's
race.
just like
her
there's
critical race theory.
It's just like
you know what? I
there's-
changed my mind. We
Hold
can't
on.
teach it
It's
because if
just
she gonna make the subject,
It's just
God
like-
help us.
It's just like you can be Cuban and be Cuban white or Cuban black. You could be Puerto Rican. You could be Puerto Rican black and Puerto
look
Rican
here.
white.
I'm gonna have to drink to that. I'm gonna close this show.
Oh,
'cause
we drinking to it. Hey,
no,
you
no,
agree
let
with
me change. I'm gonna drink by myself.
You agree
this
with
time.
me? Hey.
No, I don't
You
agree with her.
So
but
what
I'm
we drinking then?
We drinking to close the show.
Oh, the
'cause
show over.
Yeah, the show is over.
The show's over,
The show's
y'all.
over, y'all.
So-
and critical race theory, I changed my mind. Forgive me, white people. We can't
I'm just
teach
saying, like,
it. We can't teach
we
it.
have to.
We gotta figure it out first.
We have to
We'll-
figure it out.
We'll be back.
But I just wanna
when black
give
people
credit where credit
when
is
black
due.
people figure it out, we'll be
We
back.
can say she's the first Jamaican.
And we'll what? We'll drink.
First Jamaican vice president.
We'll-
we can say that.
Can we drink to that?
She's the first Jamaican
Hello,
Indian
Codiva.
vice president.
Can
Huh?
we drink to that?
Yeah. What we drinking to?
Closing the show.
Oh, the show is
Hey,
over.
hey, that's episode 13. Y'all watch.
There
Stay
it is.
tuned. Don't forget, every Wednesday, this craziness gets pushed out by a video on YouTube.
I'm just out here.
Do not
figuring it
forget
out.
to subscribe.
subscribe.
Join us on Spotify.
Spotify.
Check us out on Apple Podcasts.
Apple.
And don't forget to listen on Google Podcasts.
Google us.
That's Diva Court for this episode. Don't forget to tell us what you want to hear about. Comments, please. Because we
You
will.
might not want to comment on
I'm going
this
to need the
show.
Co-Diva to pay attention. Because we will what?
Oh, we're drinking to that.
We'll drink to that.
Hey.
We got to drink to that.